Nice work. Hello, everybody.
Killing
Welcome to
it.
the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat.
Don't mind
Happy
me. I'm thinking
Wednesday.
about tweeting to Blue Sky now that we're having a show. Oh, you did
Oh,
it. Or no, it's my draft. Yeah, I got it
it's your
ready to go.
draft. Good job. Yeah, we're
Push the button.
we're a little frazzled today. My phone is on because I normally turn off notifications, but I think we're fine. But the fires
Lila's
in
in
Los
LA for anyone who doesn't know.
Angeles, yeah,
Yeah.
keep moving, and so if you hear random noises, that's what's happening.
And on my side, I just got back from work. I literally had to run out to my car a second ago, and I'm huffing and puffing because I need to get in the gym more often.
No, not
Good
that.
question, Lila.
Yeah,
What's our show about today? Because you did all the prep work because you're a hero, and I worked,
that's
and I sent you
ridiculous.
some stuff last night, but you did most of
We
it.
always do it all together in various ways. So sometimes I feel like you do that when you think it's going to suck, and then you're like, oh, Lila put the
It's
whole thing
all
together.
on Lila.
It's all Lila.
Yes.
So, for those of you, I'm sure, who have seen Los Angeles, it looks like out of a horror
Armageddon.
movie, Armageddon. Yeah, which, it sort of does every year. Once a year. This is happening again. And I was up till 5 a.m. because I kept looking for alerts. And of course, a lot of them are behind paywalls, which, at that point you're just like, okay, fine. But then it's hard to find. So, and then, it's not going to be off to a happy start because I've got a lot to say. I'm so angry and sad. But, all of a sudden you're like, oh God, if we have to evacuate, where do we go? Because we're surrounded by all the fires, like from the west, north, and east. I guess, you can go south, but everybody's going south. And as we know, there's already a huge problem with traffic in this city that's so poorly managed. And, there are so many reasons for all of it, but mostly tax the fuck out of the wealthy people who are destroying our world, one way or the other. And that's something that nobody in power is ever really going to do. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
But anyway, like what, all of a sudden you're like, we used to like every year we make up a list, we put stuff aside, and then the fire season. Yes, we have fire seasons here. Sorry, I'm going to be looking, but it's like, do we have our water? Are the gas tanks full? Do you have your pet food, your contacts, your glasses, your like just stuff. So anyway, at 5 o'clock, I finally called it a night, 5 a.m, and went to bed. So we're both a little frazzled, but I am incredibly lucky in comparison, of course, to people who are losing their homes, some people their lives, their pets. It's pretty horrifying all around. So happy 2025.
Yeah.
How are you?
Well, this should serve as a reminder, as always, that our government is not going to save us. Like they're doing a shitty job at this, as you could predict that they would do a shitty job if there was a disaster on the front end. But what we also know from experience is disaster capitalism means they're going to move in, money's going to be funded, increased funding to
Cops.
Sources we wouldn't agree with, but they're going to use this as a reason to.
For sure.
Yeah, cops. And then we also know, of course, that they cut the budget to the fire department. Very timely.
They tried for 23 million, but actually they ended up with 18 million while providing 128 million more to cops.
Yeah, and Karen Bass is on vacation. Great job, Karen. I mean, we could get on the list. We'll probably get into more of it.
Yeah,
but
whole section on what's happening. But yeah, it's a disaster. And we're just going to repeat this city after city after state, getting a taste of what the global South has been enduring now for decades because of.
And honestly, if it were not for so many wealthy elite people being involved in this situation, Trump would probably try to hold disaster relief hostage, but inevitably he's going to have a lot of friends involved in this, since it's Malibu and Palisades and some of these uber wealthy neighborhoods.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's horrible that it comes to this, but just like with long COVID, climate change, war, AIDS, like until it affects the wealthy and the, you know, celebrity group, it doesn't get the kind of attention or focus that it needs. But it really just does kind of feel like everything's happening quite a bit faster than I thought the fall of our empire would.
Yeah, late stage capitalism comes in a hurry.
It really does.
Not
Yeah.
a slide. It's a fall.
Yeah. So, all right, let's start off with some good stuff before we get right back into everything. As always, we want to thank our wonderful pup members, our heroes and sheroes, and also thank you. I saw a lot of people checking in to see how I was today. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry if I didn't respond to you, but thank you. We really value all of you guys and your support. Seriously, it's a really amazing community I feel like we're building here. So thank you. And I'm gonna do the least favorite part. Please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell.
Leave us some hate comments if you want. It'll only help the algorithm.
That's right.
Do it. I see we probably have one in the chat already. Let's come on. Make a comment.
Yeah, get that hate watching coming in. And in terms of what's happening right now in this community, our cheers today, and there are so many, you know, we just didn't have time to kind of thread through everything that's happening, but there is a chef down in Huntington Beach, which is about 40 miles south of LA in Orange County. Anyone who has left LA and headed south, you're welcome at our restaurant, which is Calico Fish House. And he gives the address. We have a large parking lot. You can stay as long as you need, camp out. We'll provide free meals for all of those affected. If anyone has any coordination in process for meals, supplies, etc. for LA, reach out to me. We will provide as much food to deliver and arrange supplies as well. And that was, that was written this morning at 10:30. And it just keeps going. People are dropping off food supplies for pets and highlighting what other communities are doing to help. So it's really, as you said, Pat, it is has nothing to do with the government, but private people are showing up.
And Mass Block LA got a lot of masks out to people, and please donate so they can replenish these. And I think everybody here probably watching knows, but N95s are really helpful in as a fire toxin retardant,
particles in the
filter.
Air. Yeah.
So there's a lot of cancerous crap floating around in the air. So don't be out in public without an N95. And maybe even in your house, depending on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, really. And I know there's the elastometer, or what, I don't know, the one that's even more evolved than the N95, because the smoke, I think, can still permeate. But I mean, it's better, of course, than nothing, but there are even more effective ones. Speaking of masks, a strong mask advocate is Joaquin Beltran, who is a community organizer, and he was out. So, you know, I'm in the valley. To my west are the Pacific Palisades and Malibu. North, Granada Hills, Silmar, and east is Pasadena. All of those places have evacuations all night long. Joaquin Beltran was posting, he was at the Pasadena Community Center trying to get masks for people and any other supplies, water, Tylenol, just to help people. But this was his final message this morning after being up all through the night, when he was about to just take a well-earned break. But we just wanted to highlight this clip.
So officially distributed over 1,000 masks. Thank you to Babs and Mass Block LA for donating so many. There's all the boxes right there. So personally handed them to every person that was awake here for the last 4 hours or so. But they should have respirators here. City of Pasadena, the county. These are things that should just be ready and happening and have a system for. So keep helping everyone. That's what it's all about. Thank you.
He's so great. I mean, you know, he just got out there and started working and helping. So kudos to him. There are, vets who are taking in animals. And Justin, best comment ever. Just kidding. Okay.
It doesn't say I'm wrong by default.
It does
like
not
that's
say
not,
you're wrong.
Strike just came to comfort me. There you go.
Oh, that's nice. I know I left my door open so that Lucky would come in, but she pines for Josh when he's out. Okay, so let's spin the wheel and then we will get into the show, right?
Sure, let's go.
Today we're all timeline cleanse and puppets.
What do we got for time? Bug filter. Let's do it.
Oh, damn, there's a bug on you!
There's not a bug on me. It's on you! Please tell.
Do I tell them? Yeah. What the fuck is that? What the fuck was that? I swear something's on my nose. Bro, what? Oh my god, bro.
We were out and about for a little while and
You want to get on here and throw more concealer?
I don't know.
Can you look at the screen and notice for a second? Okay, let's see. No, stop. What is
Whoa! What is in my car, bro?
You ready?
This is a video. Ah!
Okay, so we're gonna be playing another one of those rating games.
Bro, what the fuck? There's a spider here.
Michaela, look. Tyler, what is that? What is that?
Okay, that feels a little mean now. I pulled that a few days ago when I wasn't in such a sad mood, and now that feels a little mean. But yeah,
That's mean to you? Oh my God, we need to break up in this show.
No, because you always do like sweet kitty cats, and I'm doing.
Well,
like,
yeah,
people,
I do on the animal side, but
yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's get.
It does remind me of like being, the little very feminine squeaks that guys make sometimes.
Yeah.
I had my girlfriend, at the time, I was in the back closet. I have a walk-in closet and I was in the back there and I turned around and she was there and I didn't expect to see her at all.
right.
And I've never felt so emasculated in my life by this. It just came out. The sound just was completely automatic. This little squirty, high pitched.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is incredibly misogynistic.
Well, is it?
What's wrong with a female scream pad? No, I'm joking.
It was genderless. Right?
I will tell you though that I am not scared of bugs or any of that except for rodents. So
yeah,
you can have your own prejudices or stereotypes, but I am very
badass with the rodents.
I'm very badass with everything except for rodents, and then I am a little baby for sure.
Gotcha.
And sharks. Okay, let's get to the show.
Let's do it. Now, yeah, I can't say I'm brave around sharks either, so we have that in common.
Look at that. We can both scream. All right, and I see truth to tweet. I am fine with reptiles, snakes, cockroaches, all of it, except for rodents. I don't know why they freak me out. Okay, so we have a lot to get to today. Everything is intersectional, as we know, and billionaires and the people whom they buy are destroying our world. Do you want to just start with the fires and then we can move out from there? What do you think?
I don't know. Rick Grains thinks we should do the whole show on water.
I mean, that's a big part of it. That's
You
a big
know.
part of it. I wonder what his feeling is about taxing the wealthy.
Yeah, I mean, we literally had Jordan Sheridan on, who covers the water stuff more than anybody. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Your criticisms are just, you're searching for criticisms.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Keep sort. We're going to serve them up to you. Don't you worry.
Mhm.
Okay. It's time for the readers right away because this is very small. But just so we know the priorities of the LA mayor and her, city budget, that it's very small, so everyone can put on readers. And this is, Kenneth Mejia, who's the city controller, is so great about calling out where priorities are in the budgets and how how misappropriations are occurring all across the board. But that very top line that spreads across this whole black graph is for police funding, which increased by, of course it's blocked here, but it's at $128 million. And then, there was an increase for housing. There was, community investment, whatever that means, some parks and rec. If you go all the way down to where they are pulling money away from these organizations or infrastructure needs, we've got street lighting, city administrative office, fine, whatever, public works, and almost at the very bottom is street services, and just above that, and sanitation, and in between those two is the fire department, that they stripped $18 million from the fire department. And the good news is they can do that because progressive California voted to continue allowing slave labor, prison labor, and 30% of our fire department force is prison labor. And they're not allowed to be hired as firefighters once they leave prison.
Yeah, so it's not job training. I can vouch for that. I worked every day with my boss's son, who was incarcerated, and he fought the fires, and he couldn't get work as a firefighter. And he was a top-notch guy, released early, all that stuff. Nothing.
It's disgusting. It's just so beyond disgusting. And again, it's all intertwined, right? As we make more and more part of being alive as a working class or poor person illegal, and we put more and more people in jail and funnel money to private prisons, and then big companies use prison labor for pennies on the dollar.
And then in sync with that, all that money that went to the police budget, crime just went up. So these cops aren't doing anything except sucking money from other resources.
They don't do anything. It goes to pay off all of their, liability.
Yeah, and triple overtime mandated security jobs and things like that for events. And
it's really gross. And, so as you mentioned, Karen Bass is in Ghana for a wedding, I think. And listen, I have a million problems with her, but she didn't know this was going to happen today. She's there, I guess she could fly back right away, and maybe she is. I have no idea. The budget and the priorities and the, elevating cops and all that kind of stuff is what's wrong with her. Not that she happens to be out of town on the day that this fire starts. But Rick Caruso, who is, he owns all of the malls and a lot of real estate, like commercial real estate in LA, and I think around the globe, a billionaire, Trump guy. He, right away had to get on with whatever channel this was, news, and talk about how the fire hydrants are out of water. And that is an enormous problem. That is an enormous problem because it turns out, and this is why it is so important to name the villains. There's so many villains in the story, but two of the biggest ones, sorry, I don't think that's my area. These are people are just still now, what I'm hearing are people getting, alerts for evacuations. Sorry.
And maybe you should just, if you see one, we should announce it in case somebody happens to be listening. Not too likely.
Yeah. So this is about all aircraft are being released from fighting the fires. And I can't even scroll through. I mean, they're like, you know, the area north of Orange Grove and Rosemead, east of Lake Avenue. I mean, there's lists of places that this maybe is not the app for me because I'm having a hard time even finding when it's me. Like, I don't even know. I am not well prepared for the kind of refugee that we're all about to be. Anyway, the two biggest immediate villains in this, and again, there are so many, but this couple, the Resnicks, they have basically privatized all of the water in Los Angeles to fund their huge farms, which are, it's the pomegranate juice, that it's wonderful brand. It's the pomegranate juice and pistachios are their biggest things that they sell. But they've become, you know, multi-millionaires. And this article from, I don't know, is this Mother Jones? I don't even know what it's
and
from.
if you don't know, almonds and pistachios are huge water resource sucks. And, you know, I know getting away from milk's important. And I used to drink almond milk. But when I found that out, I'm like, I can't drink almond milk anymore because it's just it's hard to justify the impact it has on the environment.
It really does have an enormous impact. But what they do and what's detailed in there in that article is they basically bought up the water supply and made what is a necessity of life a private, you know, the way Nestle has done, right? Made it their own private supply for all of their crops. But to offset the ghoulishness that it takes to be that sort of, you know, resource hoarder, they give, you know, $20 million to their community, and then they'll pay, you know, for new books for the public schools or a community center. So it's that philanthropy whitewashing, which is, you know, philanthropy is done by the same people who are trying to offset the very problems they've caused in order to become fabulously wealthy and have more money than anybody in the world. So that's the Resnicks. Villains number whatever, 300.
Luigi
400.
List.
Yeah. Yes.
Just saying.
Another villain. Hey, Getty. You know how Getty made his money? Oil baron Getty. And now look at this. This is the Getty Villa up in flames. And, you know, it does make you think about all of the climate protesters who splashed paint on a shield that didn't even touch the piece of art, who are now serving time in jail to prevent something like this. This has Etruscan Roman artifacts from 2,000 years ago in it, which again, like, has no comparison to loss of life, of course, but like, there are people in jail because they splashed a plastic guard in a museum. And
right, and that's being called violence, but the destruction of half of LA because of climate change we're doing nothing about, and all these governmental failures that are built into the system, and outsourcing the water out, you know, basically selling all our water to this greedy bastard so he can make pistachio money, you know. Yeah.
It's sorry, I'm just looking LA water boil. No, wow. Okay. We are supposed to be boiling water in our area in Los Angeles. Good to know. At least they're not pretending, I guess. I don't know. Sorry. I'm going to be slightly distracted because there's a lot going on today, but and I need to move this because all of my stuff is disappearing. Okay, so the climate, I'm getting rid of all my notifications that keep coming up. Why are they coming up? I'm sorry, you guys. Pat, chime in anytime here while I take care of this craziness. Why is this?
Well, I guess let's just get into covering more of the fire.
Okay, so I'm
so
back.
As we said before, 30% of America's California's forest fires are prisoners. So inmate labor here.
Getting paid nothing and putting their lives, I mean, and a lot of those people, by the way, as we remember from when Kamala was running in 2019 and 2020, a lot of the people in prison should have been let out years ago, and they are being kept there so that we have cheap labor.
Right. And along that line, just a reminder that Kamala Harris fought her was she AG at the time? I don't remember, but her department, whether she was AG or
Yeah, I think
she must have been AG.
Yeah,
She had that kind of level.
yeah.
They fought against releasing prisoners early for
Parole.
stuff, small crimes. And
Yeah.
the argument for the case literally made was, what about the prison labor?
Yeah.
Like
We need
justice
that.
doesn't include factoring in the need for firefighters. Justice is like, you should let these people go.
I mean, and pay firefighters, hire more firefighters, tax the billionaires, tax the tech bros, right? Like
Yeah.
California should have a windfall of money. And then they'll be like, oh, but then they're going to go to Texas. Like Mark Zuckerberg just left for Texas, right? Part of his fact-checking group left for Texas. But like,
yeah. So while we're on the villains, I forgot some of the insurance companies are definitely villains. We got State Farm. I want to say 3 or 4 weeks ago, canceled a lot of fire policies in LA, affecting thousands of people in LA.
yeah. People have been paying for years. Like you can be paying into that fund for your whole life. There was a woman, we pulled so many videos, and now I don't know if I have this video up here now because we were trying to make some room, but a woman who, her parents are in their 90s. They've had their house for almost 70 years. They've been paying for their fire insurance since whenever that first became a thing, and were just recently told they no longer have a fire insurance policy. So that's money that they just handed over to whoever, State Farm, Allstate, whichever insurance company, that went towards nothing for her parents. Like nothing. They get nothing.
And how many people had times to replace it in that window? It's a lot of people are going to be out of homes here, and a lot of them are filthy rich, but that doesn't mean a lot of middle class and poor people are massively affected. And I was listening on the radio to some of the reports, and they said that a lot of the shelters, they're just full. They're out of cots. They don't have room for more beds. We don't have the system that should be in place to take care of homeless people isn't big enough to then expand and export, to support
when we're all going to
need
need
of the shelter.
Yeah.
And this is where Karen Bass and City of LA and planning comes in. They don't prioritize anybody but the wealthy people.
Right.
And the cops and capital.
Right. Because nobody should be inconvenienced for a second. And if they're, how many people have you heard about who, like, Florida, there's no state tax or something? And so they will make sure that they buy a place in Florida, and they make sure that they spend 6 months and a day there, so they don't have to pay their high state income tax. Right. And here, they're all the billionaires and tech people who say they're going to leave California because the taxes are too high, whatever. And they're going to go to Texas. Right. So, like, as long as all of that is permissible, and there's so many ways that in my head I can think to change it, but because we have a Congress where nobody is ever going to do anything to make these people pay their fair share, this is where we are. So they are constantly, which gets, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, if you think California is going to go after whatever the cause of this is, or fix anything, you're crazy. I mean, Newsom just protected PG&E, obvious donors to his campaign. They're guilty as all sin. It's like not even a question of culpability, and they keep raising the rates on people is all they keep doing. We have SMUD in my part of Northern California, but just, across the block in West Sacramento where my parents live, I live in Sac, they live in West Sac. West Sac is stuck with PG&E rates, and they're terrible. They're atrocious. They're 2 to 3 times higher than we pay up here. And they're providing a shittier service. They burn down fucking half the state, and they're just getting rich off their own disaster.
Yeah. And they've been told for years that they have to do more upkeep to improve their systems and, like, bury lines or whatever it is, right? Because it was a spark, I think, from an above it
was something
ground.
they knew. So they have these things that hang on lines with a hook.
Yeah.
And they knew that over time the hooks were corroding and not that there was going to be I think for the transformers that hang.
Yeah.
And they had pictures of the hooks and the corrosion, and they had all the evidence. They knew that this was a pending disaster.
Yep.
And PG&E intentionally told their people to report that it was too hard to get to these, so it wasn't feasible to photograph and check all the hooks and things. So basically they just covered this up knowing it was a dangerous, and it does turn out cheaper for them to just raise the rates, pay afterwards. There's nobody's going to jail over this.
Yep. Yeah. So that is okay. So as people are, freaking out, don't have a place to go. And like, of course, you sort of understand the instinct. So I don't want to be too harsh on this guy, but he looks like such a jerk in every other aspect of his whole life. And it's just disgusting to put this out there. But anyway, his tweet last night, this Keith Wasserman, does anyone have access to private firefighters to protect our home in Pacific Palisades? Need to act fast here. All neighbors' houses burning will pay any amount. Thank you. What a guy.
Look, I'm not going to put anything on him per se, but like, what a system where potentially this guy who's got money can save his situation.
Like, I remember when Kanye West and Kim, what's her name, Kardashian, they had a private firefighter. They had hired a private firefighting group. But here's why you can, because then, this is what I love about Twitter. Right away, people found some of his old tweets. His company, which is called, what's it called here? Gelt, just surpassed $2 billion of real estate in their portfolio onwards. This was 3 years ago. And then another tweet, real estate ballers don't pay any taxes, and yet they would like to have firefighters come to their rescue. And then quote tweeting a Donald Trump tweet from a few months ago, your automobile insurance is up 73%. Vote for Trump, I'll cut that number in half. And Mr. Keith Wasserman chimes in with property taxes too, please. So, Pat, you're muted.
I would like to recant my last statement, and we'll edit this video out, and I'll put in some words of wisdom and add them to Luigi's list.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah.
The property barons own a lot of culpability in this whole situation. Honestly,
yes, they do.
Like, let's go. Let's. Of course, the press is never going to call out any of this stuff, but
they never will. And so just today or yesterday, there was a video put out a public speaking event, whatever, a press conference. Thank you, in North Carolina, where that was the hurricane with all of the flooding that happened just a few months ago. People lost their houses entirely. People who they have no homes. Like they were just told that their property taxes are still due. Like, so some poor person who doesn't have a house, that person is going to be on the hook probably for the rest of his or her life, having to pay back taxes when now they're also having to find a place to stay or staying in a hotel. Like, that's the other thing. People are always like, why don't you just evacuate? Where do you want me to go? With what money? Which hotel?
Yeah.
And and by the way, people went to one hotel and then had to evacuate there last night. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, and that's what happened with the shelters. I think the Palisades shelters, they had to go somewhere else too. And it's like they were already full and had no resources left to help people. And, I reached out to you because a friend of mine had a relative down there who is disabled, and they're always, disabled and people detached from society, and they're the hardest to reach and help. And finally, they got in touch with her. She didn't even know there was a fire, so those people are the ones that end up victims of, not just property. I mean, a lot of elderly people die in these situations because there's no, the safety net we have grown up to think exists does not exist. You cannot count on our government to help you. Like,
that's crazy to me, because that was the other reason I couldn't fall asleep. Because I was like, how will we even know? If I leave my phone on, I'm just going to get dings all night through. But if I turn it off, is there going to be some like siren, an emergency alert? Nope, nothing. Like there'll be nothing. We'll just be sitting here.
But even if there's a siren, I mean, a lot of people aren't reached by the siren. A lot of elderly people, hearing aid out at night, going to sleep or something, you know, like.
Yeah, no, we have not set up the infrastructure, the social safety nets for what people have been needing, obviously, for decades, but which is going to now affect even the people who, you know, it's like the Fauci thing of like, well, some people unfortunately are going to fall by the wayside. And I think there was this pervasive idea amongst a lot of liberals and certainly right wingers who are like, think that they're closer to being a billionaire than they are to being homeless. And I think this next decade is going to be a real wake up call.
It is. And I mean, we're not getting into COVID, but COVID is really going to show how little safety net we have. I mean, it's just, you can't disable at the rate we're disabling. I mean, homeless people listed as disabled went up 30% last year. Yeah. 30%. And we think you can give kids COVID 2 or 3 times a year and this number not massively grow. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's the craziest game of Risk that they are forcing people to play because again, like, you know, there are times that I really get upset when I see people not masking or like, you know, and I am like, it still bothers me on a personal level, but the truth is that is a systemic issue. Our public health has been completely defanged and nobody trusts it at all anymore on either side and nobody cares. They've given up. And that's the government's, I mean, that is everybody in power. That's Donald Trump and Joe Biden and both of their administrations. It's Fauci, it's Lana Wen, it's, you know, Rochelle, like all of them came together with the help of consulting firms like McKinsey to make sure that no matter what, we just got that economy back up and running right away.
Yep. And it's going to take so long for LA to recover. I mean, I just can't even imagine. And they're going to benefit from a government truly trying to get them back up more than most areas because of so many elite, wealthy people there. Right. But the devastation is just obvious. I mean,
so I'm sure many of you have seen a ton of videos, but just like this, the first video is 30 seconds and so is the second, but it's taken like 10 hours apart. So this was last night. Pacific Coast Highway going along all of the Pacific and houses on the side. And I think those houses are on the beach side.
Look at every single home. Every single home. Oh, God, and all those.
Okay, guys, heads up. This is really active, so just be mindful.
So he's
really dangerous for them to be driving through there right there.
It totally is.
Massively.
I'm not excusing, but he's a journalist with one of the local stations. But yes, very dangerous. People know. Yeah,
because I've been around a lot of these fires in Tahoe, and you know, with it on both sides of the road like that already, that's just crazy. Don't be there. Leave. Go the other direction.
Malibu has one. Like you can only go north and south on the PCH, which at some places is, I think, 2 lanes on each side. Right. So like, I mean, there's video of people who had to abandon their cars because, again, we have not dealt with our traffic situation in this city. And they, you know, thought the fire is going to get us. So they abandoned their cars in the middle of the road. Just to get away.
If there's a firewall on both sides of you, being on the road isn't going to save you because the heat from those 2 fires in proximity is going to suck all the oxygen away from you first off, but then just the temperature alone is going to kill you. So don't go.
And then for the firefighters to get through, because again, one axis, they had to bulldoze these cars.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned this on the radio, but if you happen to be stuck in one of these situations where you have to leave your car, leave your keys in the ignition.
Exactly.
So
Because it's going to be gone. Like, say goodbye to
it's
your
going to
car
create
no
a
matter
problem for somebody else.
what. Yeah. Say goodbye to your car because it's over, but leave your keys there so that the rescue workers can possibly move it. Although that was part of the problem. Like, there's nowhere to go. You know, I don't know. It was the first time I'd ever seen beach like this was when I came out to LA, but like there are parts of, you know, I was used to the East Coast where there's sort of like expanses of sand between the road and the ocean. And here sometimes it's not, it's like, you know, 30 feet or something. So like there's nowhere to go and it's a cliff. So like you can't just like pull off. I mean, it's really, nobody should be living there at these numbers. You cannot live. Pacific Palisades is a little different, but you cannot live in Malibu at the scale that people are living in Malibu. There's just no way. And
we can't just money our way out of what's happening with climate change. And that's what they're trying to do. Living on a cliff used to be the fantasy, a cliff near the beach, ocean, so you can walk down to your beach. But like years and years of replacing these houses and seeing the eroded cliff edge coming farther and farther in, like climate change has got you. Let's not build houses back in these places. I mean,
and climate change got you because of what you did. Like, you know, like, right. Like it's not an act of God. It was, you know, obviously it's oil and fracking and all of that. It's pollution. It's also taking over land in a way that it's not meant to be taken over. I haven't read up enough about it, but a lot of people were posting about how indigenous people who lived there before it was all developed, they would actually set fire to some of the areas because they knew it had to happen for whatever reason.
And just, I mean, I know just a teeny bit about this, but in California, indigenous people have a way of treating on their own terms, dealing with forestation fire problems. And the way our government in California treats things, they disregarded a lot of that. And there's been apparently more interaction allowing for more native natural treatment methods to be in place, which is a good thing because they've been doing this for decades longer than we have as a government. So, you know, we need more of that.
Yeah.
Our arrogance.
Oprah will hold a fundraiser for, you know, Steven Spielberg or whoever. And Justin, I saw this. It was Steve Gutenberg going and saying people need to leave their keys in the car, talking to a young TV reporter who was there, and the person didn't know who it was, which was, I mean, who cares in the middle of all of that? But it was sort of a funny moment that he was like, "Oh, are you an actor?" Or, you know,
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay. So this was this morning.
Okay, I guess let's park along this street, yeah? And then, Dave, if you can, just go ahead of us and try to set up a signal.
Right here. This is where it's got to be. This is, oh my God. What? I've never, look at this. Beyond comprehension. Oh.
I mean, that's not going to be rebuilt anytime soon. I don't know where those people are going to go, what they're going to do. And of course, you know, it's hard not to look at that and think at the same time about Gaza, you know, and like how horrified everybody here is about what's happening. And it is horrifying. But to know that a similar thing has been happening to Palestinians every single day for over a year, and then obviously, you know, 76 years, it's sort of, you know, I think everybody I know not our group, but like, I think I hope this opens some people's hearts and minds.
It's like a door to empathy. Now, this feels closer to something that happens to you. So, you know, we'd hope that people that think, oh, climate change won't affect us. You're seeing these uber rich people lose their insurance. So it intersects that issue.
Yep.
Lose their house. shitty government response, even these uber rich people aren't protected, so that,
I mean, James Woods was like
So-
crying on TV today because of his house, which, he's one of those awful, jerky, far right wingers who does not want any, taxes, cut the taxes, and, death to all the Gazans. And, to see him crying on TV today was sort of.
But yes, I do think some people are making the connection to Gaza in their mind, just because the images look so similar. The aftermath images.
I mean, yeah. All right. Should we move on? Is there anything else you want to say about the fire stuff?
Just be safe. I don't know the status right now. I mean, you in LA are more dialed in that, and unfortunately, I just got home 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah. Well, the latest thing is that the fire is, they have not contained it. It's right now, every single, I have lists of all the different fires. They're all at 0% contained. So, and they're just moving, because that's the other thing is the winds in LA were up to 90 miles an hour. Like,
that's absolutely crazy. You can't,
in the morning,
I showed you how fire.
Patio stuff was like all over, like it was crazy.
Yeah, because obviously fire, oxygen is what fuels a fire. So
right,
if you got 100-mile-an-hour winds, you can't.
Like
once you're in an
arc travels,
yeah, but you can't. There's no potential to start a fire, to prevent a fire, or you can't sandbag fast enough. You're just not going to beat that. So, but knowing some of the situation that came before this actual fire broke out, and the risk factors, we should have a government that prepares stations, and we should have a list of people that are likely to need help in these situations. That's what a healthy society has, and a system to reach out to them. And nope.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that we are just really out here on our own. So building community is part of the solution right now, at least. Okay, should we spin the wheel?
We should. And while we put the wheel up, Devin was asking what my beer is. King Kong Brewing Company.
Whoa, what I do? Yeah.
Mosaic Love. It's King Kong's a local brewer. They make phenomenal beers. I will vouch for them. And I have a mix because I didn't have a time to stop at the store. And number 2 is New Glory, also green beers. I seem to be picking a lot of green screen.
I like it. Yeah.
Beers. But that's my go-to Ubadank. Another local beer.
I love it. Very nice. I love that you buy local. That's wonderful. Very cool. All right. Oh my God. This Risk Grains, you are just bringing whatever it is you feel like you're bringing. Yep. We're selling the poison. Drink up.
We're selling the poison, and you're selling, I don't know, you're cool and you got a gun. What are you selling? Tough guy.
A lot of shit. Whatever. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, baby.
All right.
Puppets. Okay, let's go with some Eat Geeks. That looks like a baby Pablo, my other cat.
Aww. Those noises are so funny. I love it.
Yeah, there's a bird on the other side. That looks like Mo's cat. Mo's not here, but I've seen this cat.
Yeah, Mo is another friend in LA. Sending love to all of our LA fam here. Lori, I think you're in LA on the west side, if I remember. So I'm hoping everybody is staying safe. Okay, moving on to rich fuckers. No, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Jenna asked, Pablo eeks like crazy, and he's such a murderer. I apologize, but usually not birds, but he brings me a rodent every month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say two more things that I think people should know is that somebody posted, and this is so crazy, that he went to 3 different LA fire evacuation maps and they were paywalled, which is insane. But also, just for everybody who's sort of new to this, and even though I've always make lists, the 6 Ps to remember when you are having to evacuate, probably just good to keep in mind and easy to remember 6 Ps so that you can because it is, your mind kind of goes crazy trying to figure out everything. So the 6 Ps. Okay, moving on. Where do you want to start? Do we start with
should we move into Democrats just to hit how shitty they've been doing?
Sure. Yeah. And then we'll go to our rich later. Sounds good. Right. Let's do it. All right.
Where does the rich make more sense? Actually, let's go to the rich. I feel like called it.
Well, I just, it's let's just take a look at how they really think about us. This guy, and this was sent to us by Soch Bill, who I think is a different name in the chat, so forgive us. But this is Kevin O'Leary, who is next up possibly to buy TikTok. Billionaire, awful person who is one of the hosts of Shark Tank, I think. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. Kevin O'Leary, is that who?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's such a dirtbag.
Well, he's about to get dirtbaggier. Look at this.
Wealth, this according to Oxfam, of the world's 85 richest people is equal to the 3.5 billion poorest people.
It's fantastic. And this is a great thing because it inspires everybody, gets the motivation to look up to the 1% and say, I want to become one of those people. I'm going to fight hard to get up to the top. This is fantastic news, and of course I applaud it. What can be wrong with this?
Really?
Yes, really.
So somebody living on
I celebrate capitalism.
$1 a day in Africa is getting up in the morning and saying, I'm going to be Bill Gates.
That's the motivation everybody needs.
Between me and that guy is motivation. I just need to pull up my socks. I don't have socks.
Look, don't tell me that you want to redistribute wealth again. That's never going to happen. Okay?
You know what? You take a simple stat like this, which is neither good nor bad. It's just a fact.
It's a celebratory stat. I'm very excited about it. I'm wonderful to see it happen. I tell kids every day, what's wrong with this?
Up at a cocktail party.
No, Amanda, what's wrong with this statement?
One possible response
if you work hard, you might be stinking rich.
We're talking about people in extreme abject poverty. That's how you get 3.5 billion.
No, we're not. You were just talking about really rich people.
No. Okay. I'm going to tell you later what you should say to this. Coming up after the break.
Yeah, I mean, I love him because he's so clearly the villain. He's the Simpsons guy, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know who that is he's talking to, but yeah, absolutely.
I don't either. I think they have a show together based on looking at the thing in the background, but I've never seen it.
God. Yeah, I mean, they really make you long for whole nations of Luigi's. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right. So what we have seen, which is amazing, is all these, liberal heroes, just for a while. I mean, people might forget this now, but Jeff Bezos was like a liberal hero. Democrats loved him. Mark Zuckerberg, also liberal hero. Democrats loved. Look at what they are doing now, which I can't even see where it is because I need to put my glasses on. Where is all the stuff for
fact checking the rich?
Yeah, where'd all that go? It's gone. Wow. All of the all right. You can start going. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff to just show some of the stats on what they are giving to Trump's inaugural fund, because you can only give so much if you are a business or an individual person to the campaign. But you can give 100 million to his inaugural fund.
Yeah, the mandatory minimum is $1 million if you're a bougie person want access. You got to give $1 million to swear in the fucking president. Like, not, it's just a bribe. It's just you got to do this. But while we're at it, I mean, Twitter, this is kind of related. They're going out of their way. Look, they're shutting this whole free speech facade about, you know, Musk bought Twitter to liberate free speech. So now he's in the dialing it back mode. Now you're getting demonetized. All these blue checks about Palestine and, you know, anyone critical, you're getting a social credit score like this is China or something, where basically your views are going to be muted more if you're critical and you're mean. Don't be mean to the politicians. So this is all how they're working it out. I mean, at the same time he's doing this, you know, he's saying you got to be nice, and he's out here saying F you R-bomb, which is fucking god awful. Like, the whole bringing the R word back is just atrocious. And if you're on the left, center, you know, you should know better. On the right, yeah, you should know better too. But like, the whole left abandoning it and embracing this word is disgusting. And do better, leftists.
Yeah, I mean, something, please. Absolutely.
And along this lines, and I think his dad is referring to the previous clinical usage of the word, but regardless, I appreciate him putting this out there, and maybe it would make people like Musk more embarrassed to use the word, but it won't. But
it won't.
You know,
I mean,
at least he's getting dunked on, which is the only thing that really affects these.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, like, embarrassingly, that does seem to be the only thing. All right, I'm trying to see if I'm probably like overdoing it with some of these, but anyway, because I can't tell. But so Trump's inaugural fund set to break record as businesses scramble to curry favor, because obviously you're not donating, you're investing in what you're going to get back. So, you know, Apple's Tim Cook, also what used to be a liberal hero, donating $1 million. We have Meta also donating $1 million. I think Bezos also not only donating money, but also pulling the cartoon of one of his Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonists, who was showing her cartoon, her editorial cartoon was all of these disgusting billionaires, including Bezos. So that's who do we have there? We have, and the Mickey Mouse on the floor is supposed to be Bob Iger. Yeah, Bezos is, well, whatever. Bezos, Zuckerberg, I don't even know, Musk, whoever, offering money to the statue or the, you know, this huge towering figure of Trump. And she wasn't allowed to post it because of who was included in it, because it was a direct attack on not only Trump, but also, you know, the CEO cabal. And she resigned after, you know, years being there, but a Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist.
And that's where we're headed. I mean, they are going after people critical of the rich, and her cartoon is spot on, because it doesn't matter what Trump's agenda is at all. It's just that his agenda is going to help them. So they're there for it, and they're going to prop him up. I mean, Trump is not a Nazi, but if he were a Nazi, it wouldn't matter to these people. They would embrace it 1,000 million %, because they're going to turn a profit for their shareholders, first of which is themselves. And we have capitalism 100%. In place that's their goal. Like, you know, defenders of capitalism will defend anything they do because they're say, well, it's just to make money for the shareholders. That's what you got to do, whatever it takes. That's your mission. It's not about morals and values. That's our system. It's okay to do all of that now.
And which is why, you know, they'll talk about things that they're doing that are completely by the book. Like they said, like everything that CEO of United Healthcare did was legal. And just like Trump said, I'd be an idiot not to use all the loopholes. I don't pay taxes. No, I don't. Why should I? I'm using the loopholes. That's legal. They make all of their nefarious criminal social murder legal, but Luigi is the real criminal in all of this.
Yeah, and I mean on that piece over there, you know, all you have to do is look at Trump, how he got elected back in 2016. He was super critical of H-1B visas, saying everybody views him, including him, and now they're fine because he's in power and it doesn't matter. And
because Musk wants it. Listen, Musk didn't give him $250 million for his campaign without expecting something back, and he's getting it, which is, you know, the rift in MAGA world between them and the CEOs, which is why, like, we've now shown, I think, 2 Laura Loomer videos and a Steve Bannon video, which we've never done before, not because we've like converts to them, but it is interesting to see how, I mean, listen, which is why, like, the wealthy own everything, they rule the world, and well, if you thought you were going to get a piece of it, like, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah. You're closer to being homeless than rich. So just know that. But the thing about Musk is, like, with the H-1B visas, it's not like some vague, like, oh, well, he might have hired some other. You can see the layoffs directly next to the people, you know, he hired on cheaper H-1B visa programs. Like, he laid off all these people and replaced them directly with people for H-1B visas. So it wasn't expert talent. It was just a cheap labor force loophole.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But it's direct. And so, like, you know, MSNBC should be using their role as the alleged leftists to go after Musk on this 1-to-1 correlation of firing people in H-1B visas. But of course they're not, because their donors want these visa programs in place and not changed, and they want to benefit from them.
100%. Which is why, you know, I will say this, I was wrong. And what I know, what I thought was going to happen.
How do you double record?
I know. Echo. What I thought was going to happen was that when Trump came back into power, all the things that he did that they criticized in his first regime, but then stopped criticizing during Biden's regime when he did these same things or worse, or like doubled down on, you know, funding for cops, or, you know, telling everybody to take their mask off and let COVID rip, or funding a genocide. But that when Trump was back in power, they would once again become the confrontational group of people they're supposed to be as journalists, who are supposed to be holding power to account. And instead, what's happened is they have all bent the knee and they are taking their direction from their CEOs. And Trump's not actually so bad, actually.
Yeah, Trump's not so bad. I mean, Musk isn't so bad. I mean, you know, TikTok, you know, got to go though, because kids are sharing some news. And,
we don't want any.
But let's
to come
remove all censorship from Facebook. That's like the idea that Facebook and Meta are pulling censorship,
the fact checking and the censorship.
Yeah, because it's free press stuff. No, it's it's that they actually want all the misinformation propping up the corporate donors to be a free for all out there.
And they want the right wingers back. Yeah, exactly. They want the right wingers back. And he also, you know, it's such a weird thing. He also, in his strange video, you know, where he said, like, basically, like, elections have consequences. Trump won. We're going to get back to our free speech rules. And to that end, we're moving down to Texas. You know why they're moving to Texas? Because they won't get taxed as heavily as they do in Silicon Valley. That's why they're moving to Texas.
It's not free speech? What?
I know. Texas, you know, notorious for its free speech and civil rights adherence. Okay, so done fact checking. But wait, what was the other thing that I know, terrible with my eyesight? Well, the other thing is, well, this is gross, obviously, that Amazon has more workers and their dependents on Medicaid than any other company. They have twice as many workers on Medicaid as Walmart does in the state. in Nevada, and nationwide, half of Amazon warehouse workers struggle to pay for food and housing. So this is like the double, triple dipping that all these big corporations do, right? First, they get huge tax incentives to build a warehouse or a company in whatever town from the city and state. They come in there, they hire everybody up. People are really excited, closing down all other businesses, not paying people just like a little more than the other businesses, but not as much as they need, not allowing them to unionize. And then once they've closed down all the businesses and before they jet off to the next town in Texas that's going to give them some tax incentive, people are so underpaid that they rely on government assistance. So these big corporations get government assistance by just getting the tax incentive, tens of millions of dollars to build, but then plus all of their or half of their employees also require government assistance because they don't pay them enough.
And it's not just the pay, because the whole system is built like first they move in, they get a sweetheart deal, like you said, but then the idea is they offer jobs. So the mayor or whatever can say, we got jobs we brought jobs, but these jobs don't provide enough hours, right? So no matter what the pay level is, there's not enough hours for a lot of these people.
Or benefits or like all that kind of stuff.
Even if they are, the idea is they don't hire these people as full-time employees anyway, largely. So it's the reason that they can say right now, Amazon, there is no strike, because they're pretending there is no strike because it's the part-time workers who are striking or the contract workers, and they hire all these people through contracts instead of direct hires. So they technically don't work for Amazon, they're temps. Right. So it's a giant loophole. Amazon then fucks everybody double, triple, quad. The fourth way they fuck people is once that they want their sweetheart property tax deal renewed or whatever, they hold the city hostage. And then immediately, if they don't get what they want, they just move it a town over, who the mayor is like, we need jobs. I need jobs. I need to get reelected. So here we go. Moving on down. And when the biggest growing company in the US is putting more people on social welfare programs or social service programs, this is just the formula. So you can see where society is going the more we keep propping up all these fucking oligarchs through Amazon. And we are powerless other than the labor movement to change things, because Democrats don't want to, Republicans don't want to.
Yeah. And they're all in bed together, as we are seeing, the first Trump regime. I love saying regime for all of these cretins.
Despots. I like that word, despots.
Despots, yeah. Melania, I think she was the first lady, like, not to be interviewed by Ladies' Home Journal, Good Housekeeping, Vogue, like all, Laura Bush was on, which it's so crazy to me that the wife of George W. Bush, war criminal, like just disgusting blob of a man, up until Biden, the worst president of my life. Like, she's on there, she's fine, but Melania is not. And then they're always, and I'm no fan of Melania or Trump at all, but there were all these like really sexist criticisms of her. And it was like, they'd show her in one of her sort of very revealing or nude shots, juxtaposed against Michelle Obama or what, Jill, Dr. Jill. Yeah, like all that kind of crap that I hate. But even that has changed now. And they are giving, I want to just make sure I have the exact number, which I can't, here. $40 million to Melania Trump for a documentary about her from Jeff Bezos. $40 million. But you know what? Like, why not? Like, look at the Obamas got their Netflix deal and their book deals. The Clintons got their book deals. I mean, it just feels like it's really just one step on the path to being a friend of Richard Branson. Like, that's what they all want. They just want to get to their money caves as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're not touching on Dems right now, but I got to show this slide because it kind of fits. I
So
mean,
gross. Yeah.
look, the red lines are Republicans. These are the people who performed the best. Their portfolios performed the best in the last year, right? This just came out today. Unusual Whales. I don't know if you follow them on Twitter, but they always have a lot of data they release on politicians. Top Democrat is Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who managed to have a 142% increase in her portfolio.
So just to remember, because this isn't like how much they've made overall or whatever.
Yeah, it's percentage increase of their portfolio. Top
for
is
this
Pelosi,
1 year.
period. Money-wise.
Just this 1 year. This is just their change in 2024. Because yes, Nancy Pelosi would be at the top, I think.
She's like 9th or 10th or something on this list, but
yeah,
if you just did dollar amount, she would be the highest. But
yeah,
Debbie Wasserman Schultz, of course, famously Florida governor, rigged all these things for. Or was she governor? Wait a minute, Jesus Christ, governor.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. No, she's a congressperson down in Florida.
She was just a congressperson, but she was.
But she continues
Florida,
to be. Our friend
she was a DNC
Jen
chair.
Perlman.
I'm sorry.
She was a DNC chair. She was fired in 2016, but she still remains a congressperson there. And Jen Perlman has, tried twice now to unseat her, but people become so entrenched. I mean, it's such a conservative business to go into politics. People want what they know, even when they say they want change. It's just and all the money and all the power and all the structure is stacked against you. So but yeah, that's gross. And they will never, every once in a while somebody floats the idea of like, oh, people in Congress shouldn't be able to trade stocks, and and also like shouldn't allow their family members to, right? Because a lot of them will say, oh no, I don't. I mean, my wife does, my husband does, my kids do, right? Like,
but there's a direct correlation with all of this because Pelosi, look, Democrats, when they come into Congress, they have a binder of donors. They there's a documentary out there, but basically they get shoved into these little cubicles, a certain percentage of their time in Congress. They need to call donors. There's a donor book on who to call, ask for money, and blah, blah, blah. And the number you're supposed to raise for the Democratic Party goes up the higher your position. So the top position has been Pelosi forever. And that's why she has to bring in the most money for the party. And that's why her own personal stock portfolio benefits the biggest, because she gets the insider fucking tips every time. If there's one stock tip I have for you, it's follow her stocks.
Yeah, follow her portfolio.
Trust me on this. I'm not a licensed whatever, but you will not lose following her stocks.
Nobody does better
in the long haul.
Yeah.
And not just one, just there's some site online you can find her actual stock investments.
Yeah.
But you'd be a villain because they're villainous stocks. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's big pharma and weapons industries and all this just disgusting stuff. Okay. This was sort of funny before we move on. There was this guy who decided, much like the people who were on the playing deck of cards of the terrorists that the US military was supposed to kill, he was going to do the same idea, sort of, as a joke, but with CEOs and what they do. So here is this guy. It's two parts because there has been a bit of fallout for him, but here we go.
Did you know in 2003, the U.S. military, a defense agency, created a most wanted Iraqi playing card set? They made it so they could help troops identify the most wanted members of people in Saddam Hussein's cabinet, military, government, everything like that. Help them find and do what they needed to do. They looked like this. They had pictures of them and their name and what party, what they do, things like that. But a follower, shout out JDL, reached out and said, we should do this for CEOs. Imagine, we got Sam Altman and Zuck and Bezos, a little Peter Thiel action, maybe the CEO of Northrop Grumman, the entire Walton family. So yes, I'm actively making this playing card set, 52 CEOs. I have a list, but if anyone has someone exceptional that they want to toss the name in the ring, let me know. I am making that this weekend. I might push a little bit, but it's going to be up for pre-order in the next couple days. So look out and help me.
It is just once again such a reminder of how arbitrary it is, who you're allowed to call a criminal or whom it is legal and even like praised to kill.
Yeah. I mean, my next deck of cards.
Yeah. Well, you'd be on the same team, just coming at it from a different angle. All right. Should we move on?
Sure. Does that mean the wheel? Or what are we talking about?
Right.
Okay. Let's spin the wheel.
Unless there's another thing you want to,
Ha 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 ha! Light moments.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
There we go. Oh boy. There we go. Better. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Another puppets.
Puppets. What do we got?
Very cute.
I just pulled the one on the right because it looked like Strike a little bit driving that car.
That's very cute. Sorry, but I just want to say two more things about water and AI and rich people is that AI takes up ridiculous amounts of water for something that has so far nobody needs. And the only reason that all of these rich tech billionaires are racing to, buy up all the cloud space and their different refineries and all that is because they want to replace workers, right?
Well, that's the main reason, right? The goal, ultimate goal is do that as fast as possible, but also it's completely unregulated entirely right now.
Yeah.
And so if there's enough public pressure, we know that doesn't do shit, but there will be some pressure to put some check in place so that we all don't get fucking terminated, Terminator style. So that there's some regulation coming, but so they want to maximize it now. And they're, what's going to happen is Meta and Twitter, they're just going to buy up anyone who does AI. So AI is going to be run by like 3 groups in just a matter of years, to be the fastest monopolies ever because of the lack of regulation right now.
100%. Yes.
And they're getting rid of Lena Khan. I mean, just to put it out there, like,
and we're going to come to that and the NLRB in just a second. But the other thing is lithium, which, here we have a lithium refinery that will need up to 8 million gallons of water a day, 20 miles outside of Corpus Christi, which is so dry, the local water company distributes shower timers at high school football games. So that is why, I know we all know, but there are no good billionaires. They only are able to hoard that amount of wealth by exploiting labor and raping the climate. That's it. Like all of our resources and all of our labor, they just steal it. Okay, let's tune into the Democrats.
They're going to
knowing that the fascist is coming into power.
Is this the National Labor Relations Board?
Yeah.
And that's so we had it was literally right in front of you to control the National Labor Board Relations Board for the next 2 years. Yep. Excuse me. Very burpy beer. Still love them. No shade. Sorry about spreading the poison. Whoever that twat is.
But. So here is Ro Khanna talking about what happened 6 months later Like, why weren't you sounding the alarms back in August when this all went down? Should we just explain what happened?
You got the
here?
readers ready. I'm going to let you take it while I
right.
sip the beer.
So
Drown
this
my
was a
sorrows.
long thread, but it's all put together here. Due to an unforced error, I don't believe it was an error, by Democrats, we lost the National Labor Relations Board majority 2 years earlier than expected. This is a huge setback for the hundreds of thousands of workers across this country organizing for a better contract. Let me explain. The NLRB is America's leading labor law enforcement agency. In the last 3 years, union petitions have doubled because we have a strong NLRB that supports workers who choose to form unions, ensures that corporations allow free and fair union elections, and protects union workers if big business retaliates against them. The term of our previous NLRB chair, Lauren McFerrin, just expired on December 15th. She was eligible for reconfirmation alongside a Republican who'd be paired with her. This would have secured a 3-2 Democratic majority on the NLRB for the first 2 years of Trump's second term. Bernie Sanders did the right thing. He cleared her nomination on August 6th. But, shocker, the Dems fumbled it. On the setting, going back to the 11th, I'm blocked a little bit there, but Senate Democrats had a chance to move McFerrin's nomination vote through, which would have led to a secondary vote to confirm. Senator Vance, Roberts, and Manchin were absent that morning, but we delayed the vote. Thanks, Schumer, for what I'm hearing described as no reason, until Vance and Manchin returned, deadlocking the vote at 49-49. We then failed to get word to Vice President Harris quickly enough to come and deliver the tie-breaking vote. In the 90 minutes that transpired, Senator Manchin returned first, swinging the vote in the other direction and ceding the NLRB to MAGA control 2 years earlier than necessary. These procedural blunders have massive implications for the American people who deserve better from their elected officials. American workers deserve an explanation. It will hurt the young folks organizing at Starbucks and the workers organizing at Amazon. It's inexcusable and inexplicable that we did not prioritize confirming the NLRB appointees like we do federal judges and have seated the board 2 years before we needed to. And once again, when you are a member of Congress and you have the bully pulpit on any level, why not talk about this 3 months ago? As it's happening, sound the alarms.
And look, it's so not an accident that they didn't renew this. It's so not an accident. Kamala Harris was supposed to be the tie-breaking vote. Oh, she couldn't make it. Oh, who was the NLRB after largely Uber? Oh, is there a connection there between Uber and Kamala Harris? Yeah, it's fucking clear as day. I mean, these people, like, when you call Joe Biden and his administration and Democrats the most labor-friendly group ever, and then fuck this up, like, just get bent forever, Democrats. I mean, this doesn't pass the smell test. This should have been the most important thing on your agenda if you're Kamala Harris.
Yeah, except, and I know everybody here agrees because yes, of course. There was a Sirota thing that said, she could have broken the tie, but she wasn't there to cast the vote. And her brother-in-law is the chief counsel of Uber, who is tangling with the NLRB.
Yeah, and of course her family was involved heavily, some of these people, in running her campaign as well. Yeah, so the idea that we're going to elect her and she's going to fight harder than Biden did for labor.
Didn't even show up for a vote.
You wouldn't let Sean Fain fucking speak at your goddamn convention.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien. Yeah.
God damn it.
Whatever.
I will forever mess the Sean's up.
I know. That's hard. That's a hard one. Yeah, no, it is all a joke. And I resent, listen, Ro Khanna sometimes says some good things. Too little, too late here. Speak up months ago as it's happening. And also, it's not a blunder. It's not an unforced error. It is 100% working exactly the way their donors want them to do. That's it. It's not
call it out at the time. Do it.
Yeah.
Hey, tweet the "Where's Waldo" pic and put hashtag "Where's Kamala."
Yeah.
And that's some pressure. That's not some actual like, well, we tried, we'll do it better next time. It's like, no, right fucking now.
You have one chance.
Where the
right
fuck
now.
are you?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a procedural way to stall this that they could have used. I understand that they brought in Manchin and that.
But they could have done the vote before that, and they wouldn't have even needed her. Why didn't they? It was delayed.
100% guarantee there's some procedural way they could still, after the fact, come back to this vote. There is a way to procedurally do anything if you want to fucking do it.
But remember, that one of her big proxy people was Mark Cuban and Reid Hoffman.
The good billionaire. The
good billionaires who wanted to get rid of Lena Khan and were very vocal about it. And this was before the election. And if she had shown up and broken that tie, maybe she would have gotten $7 million from Reid Hoffman. You don't raise $1.25 billion on a losing campaign by not grifting off of everybody and making sure your rich donors get all of that money back.
Yeah.
God damn it. All right.
It's so early, but I feel like the race for 2028 is going, and it's going to look, they're already going to prop up Kamala. She's not going to win the nomination, but the money's going to be behind her to win it again. And by then, who knows what the narratives look like. But the reason half the Democratic Party doesn't care is that they all got rich off of her campaign. All the
oh God.
The consultant class, they cleaned up like they would never do.
Yeah.
Because if you're an underdog, as she was, it's easier to raise money.
They framed her as,
from Democrats. So they're going to throw money at her. Yep. The public is going to eat into whatever it is. And they know for sure. They don't know if they run an actual progressive lefty, like they're worried about it. Well, they don't want that.
Right. Sorry, well, they'll pretend that AOC is lefty,
let's say
and they'll kind of allow
it. A fake lefty AOC kind of person that they'd be fine with in the end, but they don't know if they can raise the same amount of money with her as they can with.
No, it's much more profitable to run a losing Kamala.
Yeah, it'll always be a coin flip, and the coin flip is what raises them the most money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where you run a real leftist, and it's like, oh, clearly the polls are showing that the left supports this lefty politician.
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of the right and a lot of independents and a lot of non-voters. So yeah.
So we would get like 7,000 less emails if there was an actual leftist.
Yeah. And the DNC would raise no money.
Like, can you imagine if a leftist progressive somehow legitimately was winning the primaries again, like Bernie was? Like, there's going to be no one. Let's say they won the primary. Like, they are the nominee. We get a Bernie through, and he's the nominee. They're going to suddenly say emails are not an effective way to raise money.
Oh, are you kidding me? Also, do you remember when they did think that Bernie was going to be it? Hillary, Biden said that they didn't think that they would vote for him if he was the nominee.
Yeah, they could conceivably vote for a Republican in that situation.
For Trump, because they knew Trump was the Republican. Like, yeah.
What that encapsulates is that you cannot look to the Democratic Party to ever fucking change or ever change these things. You can't say, look, in the next cycle, we have the squad is now 20 people. It fucking doesn't matter. Like, if we're going to change the world and the US and just get healthcare, it's not through the fucking Democratic Party. It never will be. It never will be.
No. No. Okay. Are there any other things you want to show for Democrats?
What subject are we on? I don't
even know. I mean, it's just like rich fucks. We could have just called this rich fucks.
The rich fucks.
I have been enjoying the hell out of Bill Burr, I have to say. I'm watching like all of his old stuff. I'm watching his new stuff. I love what he says about rich people. So if you need a good laugh,
Did we have a clip,
we have
right?
one. Yeah, I don't. You know, sometimes I will be honest. It's after my edible kicks in, and it's really funny. But yeah, here's a little.
But even
moment.
when he's not funny, he's usually right. I mean, he can be a little.
He can be off
not
sometimes,
woke and try to lean into that a little bit, but that's what comedians probably should be. He's like the level of that you probably should be if you're a comedian. I mean,
I feel like you're supposed to be pushing the boundaries, and even like I do think that even when he says things where I'm like, whoa, that was crazy, it's well crafted enough that the next line turns it back on himself or like white guys. You know what I mean? Like he
agree.
Anyway,
yeah,
all right. I won't. Yeah.
CNN's how the show made CNN last week.
Oh yeah. How fucking gross was that? That those
I think
fucking assholes on CNN sat around acting like they actually were confused or surprised by the reaction that people don't like CEOs, and then them sitting there like they were going to get down to the bottom of it. It's like these CEOs are behaving the way they are because guys like you are not doing your job because you're not journalists on CNN or Fox. No. You're not. You guys are treasonous people who are sucking the corporate cock, and you're fucking looking the other way. And then when, like, you know, an athlete says something or a fucking soap opera star tweets something or some regular guy hoards hand sanitizer in their fucking garage, you act like that's the reason the country's going to shit. But meanwhile, you can still charge $600 for a pill when you got leukemia. Go fuck yourselves. CNN and Fox News. Fuck all of those pieces of shit.
Hey, sorry. The evacuation's getting really close right now. Sorry.
Where you are right now? Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, it's about 1.5 miles away.
I think you should get ready and we should just call it
2 miles away.
You should be watching that and not this.
This is, you know, when they say, why don't people evacuate? Like, it's all so hard. And like, sorry, you guys, if you want to put something else on, I'm just kind of trying to see what they're talking about.
All right. I'm
5 miles away.
Okay. But let's take a moment and read something and learn.
Thank you.
Make sure you're safe, and I'll show a little cat video or something.
Thank you.
Okay. First off, we'll show in line with, you know, the media and what Bill Burr was calling out. You cannot, as a powerful, even athlete, like there's so much pressure on people to toe the party public USA line. And there's so much pressure to not be anti-Israel, which we're not even touching on Israel tonight much. I mean, we could, but we probably don't have time. But Dwight Howard, multi-millionaire, uber influential. He can leverage his power to change a lot of things. But here's him when he tweeted free Palestine once, and here's the story.
So I tweet free Palestine. Less than 10 minutes after I tweet that, I get a call from the commissioner of the NBA.
Stop it.
Agents, people like working with my foundation at the time, Texas. Wow. You got to erase this tweet. You got to take this down. You're going to get it. I'm like, what did I do that was so bad?
Can somebody explain to me?
Yeah, can somebody explain? You know, and it was just like because I went against the grain. I said something that people didn't like, and I, you know, now
not people didn't like, they didn't like.
So now it's like I got to stand on what I believe and how I feel, and not go back on it.
Yeah.
And when you're in the league, you be in that place where if I say too much, if I say something, I may not get a job no more.
That's that 70% of people that's out the league that got you.
I gotta hold my tongue.
I'm still checking. I think I'm okay, but thank you. I really appreciate all of you guys, and I might just, but
yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
no, please.
No, but
I
know. You'll all be fine if I leave in a second. Yeah, we'll keep going until
on the Dwight Howard front. I mean, look at supporting Black Lives Matter.
Look what Obama swept in right away. They could have changed our country. Actually, the NBA had that power in June of 2020.
And they said, because the NBA was trying to move into China, and people were critical of China. And look, that's a mixed bag on its own, because China is great in so many areas, but they're also not. We have to be honest. Like, this is not a fucking communist nation. This is,
yeah.
They are not there's free speech is not allowed in China. Let's be honest. Like, don't be a leftist who's like, we should, everything's great in China. It's not great in China. Their social safety net is way better. That part of China is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like housing, you can't be a landlord. Like they lynched their landlords, or
was that in China or Japan where they executed a billionaire?
It should be. We should
look that up.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Reflect the Sun. Thank you. You are awesome. Thank you. That reminds me that I have to pour a glass, because what better way to get all my evacuation supplies ready? My 6 Ps. Was it 6 Ps or 7? 10 Ps? 20 Ps?
I mean, people and pets were 2, so that's 7.
Okay.
They made that one.
Josh asked me if he would make the list.
Luigi's or your pack list?
my evacuation pack list. I was like,
he should be on. You guys should be billionaires from his excellent writing.
That's right. How much room we have in the car, it will depend. Yeah. So Obama comes in, breaks that strike that really could have been effective, right? And then, I was thinking on Sunday it was the Golden Globes, which I watched after our show, because still an actress. I used to pretend I was on the Tonight Show in the mirror when I was 6 years old in the bathroom and all that kind of dorky stuff.
Give me your acceptance speech. What would you say?
It depends on for which role that I had imagined I was going to have. But a lot of the films that were nominated or shows were very like working class oriented, social justice oriented. Nobody said a single mumbling word about our genocide that we're committing with Israel in Palestine and in Gaza and the West Bank, and that we were starting in Lebanon, and that Syria, like nothing. There were, I think, 6 people,
6 pins,
who were the smallest pins imaginable. I made a little thing of it here, and now I can't even find it. Did I?
I don't even care anymore, because I want to see 2 through 5. These are important facts.
The 6 Pat was right too. Yeah.
I didn't even mean to click on the second one, but good.
Guy Pearce and Io Edebiri. So I think he's in the is he in the Brutalist this year? And then she's from The Bear, and I mean a lot of other indie films. And then Rami Youssef, Steve Way, filmmaker Paula Kapadia, author Justin Halpern, and film producer Jocelyn Barnes. But it is shocking to me that artists who are supposed to be subversive and speak truth and a reflection of society, not one of them had the courage, the spine, the ovaries to stand up there and call out what we're doing.
There's such cowardice, but on the other hand, I understand, their personal, they will be affected if they come out. Your bottom line income is massively affected. When Dwight Howard, top elite athlete in the NBA, is afraid to talk about it, and he's talking about it now because he's retired. Right? So that's where we're at, and there's so much control over the narrative, and it affects so many people financially. It's just disgusting. And like I said, it goes back to Black Lives Matter with the 49ers quarterback. He was top 10 quarterback at the time. I mean, couldn't get a job, but he stood up for what.
The only thing that I was happy about with Colin Kaepernick is that I was like, I'm glad that he will not have the opportunity to damage his brain. But the blacklisting was disgusting. It was disgusting. And I mean, look, Susan Sarandon lost her agent, and people who speak out.
I remember it wasn't that long ago. There was a movement online with Twitter folks to shame the people in power in the media who hadn't been vocal and been on our side on this stuff. And, there's so many villains to point to, but I liked where that was going of like pressuring elite people to acknowledge or be on a list. I mean, I don't want listing guess that part of it's bad, but like,
I mean, it's not, I don't know why it's bad, because it's honest, right? Like, it's different with, the Canary mission, which is the Zionist version of that. It's
right.
all of the students, all of and that's, they say that they're anti-Semitic just for being pro-Palestine. Like, just for not for winning a ceasefire, they say you're anti-Semitic.
And look, if you need to have, for the people in the arts who recognize this most of the people that aren't in power, the next tier of like who you look to as in pop culture, the artists want to speak out about this. They are more in tune with this. They are more empathetic. Empathy is part of the arts. So like,
just look at James Woods.
There needs to be, but I appreciate putting pressure on them to speak up regardless of the consequence. And I think for Palestine, it's so important because it's like, where's the power in labor? At least we have the labor movement. We have workers striking and something, but like for all these people getting massacred in the name of our government and our taxes and our whatever, there's who's speaking up, like our role in this is why they're getting killed every day.
100%. And it's becoming, I mean, the people that I am following, like independent journalists on Twitter, still do, but I've noticed a real difference in the algorithm, or at least in what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's the algorithm or if it's that Israel has managed to kill most of the on the ground reporters, and there's no electricity. How do you get a feed? How do you upload it? All that kind of stuff. They've managed to silence.
It's the algorithm, and it's like, they're going to use every breaking news story to distract us. Like, 2 days of covering Carter's, it's not even his funeral yet. 2 days of covering the procession. It's just,
I feel like right after 9/11 is when reality TV really kind of kicked in hard, and it was as they were ramping up their surveillance on U.S. citizens and starting an illegal war. It was like, hey, look over here. Let's watch Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton be idiots. And then, Survivor, it's like, it's always a distraction to keep people as ignorant as possible. Should we go right into Israel?
Why not?
Should we spin the wheel? Like, people should be like, we should do something to have a little bit of
Well,
joy.
you said spin the wheel. Whenever you do that, we should spin the wheel.
You got it. You got to just do it right away. Okay, wait a second. Here we go. There we go. Okay.
Momentary.
Baby.
Lapse of reason. Puppets.
We do.
Yeah. And I did just refill my glass. So don't judge. Okay, go.
Oh, it's cold. Oh no.
It's pistachio ice cream.
This is kind of torture, though.
Hey, what you got there? Some kitty treat? Wait a minute. Wait, this tastes like some medicine. Ah! On AMC.
No. It's so bad. No.
Get it.
No, do you hate it? Maybe there was something mean going in me with the 2 videos that I chose this week.
Oh no, the cats! I love the cats. Come on.
It wasn't mean to make them. I just thought I was like that.
Hey, this week I love cats because I've gone a week without being peed on by.
Oh my God! Why would you say that out loud? You just jinxed yourself.
I don't know. I think I might be onto something. So, I have this automatic litter box, which is the bougiest thing I spent on myself this entire year. Actually, the electric bikes probably more. But I bought it so that I could hopefully have less peeing on by my new kitten. And but I think what I was thinking was, okay, the litter, you know, they say changing the litter box is the thing. If they don't love their litter box, they're going to pee somewhere else.
Yeah.
But what I wasn't doing was putting in fresh litter to the box as much, because I got this fancy thing that takes the poop out anyway.
Got it.
So now the litter is all smelling fresh, and I think maybe she's like, "Hey, look at this fresh litter." So anyway, that's my.
Remember in the last show when you made fun of me and said that I was OCD and a germaphobe, and that you weren't any of those things, but you still take COVID seriously? Maybe you need a little more of that in your life. Less cat urine.
I should be more of a germaphobe.
More cat litter.
Instead of, you're saying I should not sleep and pee?
Or at least change that kitty litter a little more often. A little more often.
All right, well, I'm changing. I was always changing it, but not as frequently. I had an aha moment because I changed it, and then had a week without any drama. So I think I just connected the dots for the first time. So I should listen to you. Lila's right. Put up the banner, drop the balloons.
Oh my God. And I did remember it. I like held it deep in me. And yes, that's right. Here it comes. Okay. Moving on. Horrible. Okay. So here we go. There's not much new to say. The doctor who was kidnapped and is being held, as far as we know, at Sedai torture camp, whose son was killed, adult son was killed by, sorry guys, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah. His mother just died of a heart attack. And there is a movement by a group, a foundation, which is called the Hind Rajab Foundation, to hold war criminals from the IDF accountable, to prosecute them wherever they go. So one of the Ministry of Diaspora, that's who this, just threatened the founder of this organization, saying some the big joke that, Fetterman.
The pagers.
The pager joke. Watch your pager.
Hello to human rights activist. Watch your pager.
Lovely.
Like,
right?
Can you imagine that being acceptable in anything that we fund? Like,
he's the Minister for Diaspora Affairs and combating anti-Semitism. I wonder how that's going for him, how the world is feeling about Jews right now, because these genocidal maniacs have insisted on conflating Zionism with Judaism. So, we're looking at Chile, which is now labeling the menorah the symbol of death. And that's 100% on Israel. That happened this year because of a genocide. And Biden deciding that the Jews were going to be the face of this 21st century genocide and not stopping this. But because of what's happening now and world reaction, the IDF has put out a guide. And this Twitter, whatever, X person whom I've been following for a while, Tamim, anyway, picked out some highlights. A guide for IDF soldiers. Here's how to act if arrested abroad and what to check before the flight. Does sharing footage online increase legal risk? Definitely. Soldiers who post videos online provide hostile organizations with potential evidence to support suspicions against them. How can I check if my destination poses a risk before traveling? Human rights organizations publish reports online detailing the application of universal jurisdiction in various countries. Consulting an international criminal law expert is strongly recommended. I mean, they're admitting.
Yeah, if you could here's how you avoid potentially getting arrested for your war crimes.
Yeah, exactly. they're acknowledging, don't post video of what you're doing, and talk to human rights lawyers about universally recognized laws. I mean, they're saying it, right? And then the next 3 slides, what precautions should be taken before traveling? Soldiers should avoid posting photos or videos from their service, especially content showing destroyed buildings, even if there's a military justification. Such posts violate operational security, could harm Israel's image. I mean, some countries might treat seemingly minor content, such as racist songs, as incitement to genocide. Should Israel fund legal defense for soldiers arrested abroad? If a soldier is wrongly detained for lawful service, the state should cover their defense costs. However, this becomes problematic when there's credible suspicion of war crimes. Funding one soldier's defense could set a precedent requiring similar support for others accused of serious crimes. Will traveling become safer after the fighting ends? The threat may not diminish and could even intensify as Gaza opens to human rights groups and foreign journalists. I mean,
the part that catches me in that is, with all the bullshit we've gotten from our own government about, wearing your watermelon fucking pin is racist. Here they are just saying seemingly innocent content like racist songs. Like, you can put out racist songs, like that should be innocent. It's in the word that you just said. It's a racist fucking song.
And I'm sure that's an allusion to what happened in Amsterdam when they were singing through the streets, kill the Gazans, and there won't be a single one left or whatever. I mean, like, and that human rights, they're nervous because once the war is over and human rights experts come in, Kimmy, thank you.
Yeah, please be careful. We have 8 minutes left ish. So
I am looking.
Get the hell out of here if there's anything buzzing.
100%. But and thank you, Kimmy. Cheers and thank you.
Thank you.
But speaking about, so the UN has been trying to investigate these supposed Hamas rapes from October 7th. Where they have absolutely not a single morsel of evidence. No person, no victim has come forward. There's been nothing. And remember, this, I mean, I know we all know this, but like, this has been used for over a year now as a justification for
the rapes are the yellow cake uranium. Did the press not learn there was no yellow cake uranium? Don't kill a million innocent Iraqis over something uninvestigated.
Right. And again, like, even if there had been the uranium, you still don't need to just like decimate a whole nation. And the same, even if Hamas had committed 1,000 rapes, you do not need to destroy all of Gaza and kill hundreds of thousands of people. That's just not the way it should ever work. It wouldn't have been a justification anyway. But the reason that they are not allowing people in, and this is according to Haaretz, Israel is blocking the United Nations from investigating sexual crimes committed by Hamas during its October 7th attack. So, I mean, they're taking that on so that's like a fact that it happened, whatever. Fearing it would require granting access to probe allegations of sexual violence against Palestinians in Israeli detention, which there is over like an abundance of evidence of, people being raped by dogs, by hot irons, being raped to death, children being raped, and that's been going on for years that we have evidence of that also.
If you care about the rapes, you care about the rapes from both sides. And clearly this is not the case. This is our press pushing a narrative to try to justify, even though it would never justify all the atrocities committed by Israel in our name, out in the open, that the whole fucking world knows.
The whole world. And so, just recently, a passenger confronts a flight attendant over a watermelon pin that makes the person anti-Semitic.
Yeah, and that was on video. But I would say, I mean, the airline handled it well. I don't even know if there are two situations, but they also kicked off an Israeli person that was very rude. I think they're two separate.
I think they might be two separate. And I need to know what that person said, because I do think like people should be allowed, I mean, like, shut up. And if you can't stop talking and disrupting all the passengers, then that's a problem. But I don't know what the whole situation was. And because they just showed the police showing up and saying, we need you off.
We need you off. You've been rude.
Nervous.
You know?
Like, I need to know what happened to precipitate it. Even if I like hate that person and not, but like, I don't like a lot of people. I don't like a lot of what people say. So I just like that to me is a kind of a, unless we know that it was like threatening or really disturbing the peace, I just don't know. But it is interesting how that tide is turning. And of course, you know, as a Jewish person, I'm very aware of how these tides can turn. And a lot of the accounts who I see forwarding true information about what Israel is doing to Palestinians, a significant number of those then go on to talk about, well, is it any surprise? It's the Jews. It's the like, so then pro-Palestinian.
The worst people are going to take everything
that
a Jewish person ever does and espouse the need for racism.
Yeah, it's gross. But and as you said, and I think somebody in the chat also said that a court
one win in the courts.
Yeah. A Title VI lawsuit over alleged anti-Semitism at Haverford College. So, you know, I think it's important to try to keep that tenet of free speech on both sides. Like, we wouldn't need the First Amendment if we liked all the speech, right? The First Amendment is for the speech we might not like.
Yeah, but the danger is back to why we villainize Musk and Zuckerberg, is that the avenue we have that woke a lot of people up to Palestine is social media, and they're coming for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that billionaire asshole O'Leary, is that his name?
Kevin O'Leary.
Who's going to buy TikTok probably. Yeah. I don't think that's good news for anybody. All right. Is there anything else? I know we didn't get to COVID. We'll talk about COVID on Wednesday. Unless you want to like race through some. Do you want to?
No, I don't think we do. But be careful. Bird flu is blowing up. They lied about it. It's coming. I mean, there are no eggs on shelves in half the fucking country now. Milk, eggs, and they're not talking about what it could be in cheese. Like, be careful. Don't trust your government.
It's going to affect our whole food supply.
Yes, don't trust our government. Back to Israel, though, I forgot we did have a positive thing.
Yes.
84 medical students graduated from Palestine University. So,
I mean, that's
unbelievable.
I cannot imagine having to study and think in the midst of all that. Like, I mean, you guys see I'm kind of a disaster today, and like nothing's really happening to me. I cannot imagine that fortitude. It's just truly inspiring. Okay. You guys are all so amazing. I really, truly appreciate everybody. And, you know, if we didn't get to all of your comments, we do always go back and read them afterwards. And thank you. I see all of your love and support. I think, as we all know, even though, you know, we might make jokes about Luigi, or even some people truly want more Luigis, and I'm not going to say anything because the last thing I need is somebody knocking on my door right now. The other way to affect some change is through the working class and labor, and blocking the supply to the people who are making money off of the working class. So to that end, anytime labor is organizing and coming together, it is a benefit for all of us. So we're going to go out on a new unionizing effort in the South, Amazon workers, and I love you all. I'm going to go pack my 6 Ps. We'll see you on Sunday.
Please be safe, Lila. I won't message you much because I know you have stuff going on and you need to get out, but please let me know when you're safe.
I will. I will. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you, everybody.
Punching up. Bye.
Are you pushing?
They're scared. They're shaking in their damn boots. We're here in Garner, North Carolina, just south of Raleigh, where 4,000 Amazon warehouse workers at RDU1 have recently filed for a union election.
I've actually got injured working at Amazon on the pack line. Still to this day, I'm permanently damaged in my shoulder. All they want you to do is get on the line and push their numbers.
It just shows that the priority is not the safety of the people, but rather the makeup of profit of the company.
If they win, it'll make them the second ever Amazon warehouse to successfully win their union after the victory of JFK 8 warehouse workers in Staten Island in 2022. This would be a huge victory for all working people, but especially here in the South. North Carolina is the state with the second lowest union density at just 2.7%, behind only South Carolina at 2.3%. Now, with the national rising tide of Amazon workers striking this peak season with the Teamsters, all eyes are on Garner as the union vote approaches in the coming weeks. Unsurprisingly, Amazon is already running an anti-union campaign to try and trick and scare people into voting against their own union. We're here to talk to the workers about why they're fighting and to bring you coverage from the ground on this historic campaign.
You have the power. The power lies within you. You know, we just have to activate it. Until the world wakes up and treat everybody right, we got to keep fighting.
Please follow us and share our coverage to help lift up these stories. And you can support us by signing up at patreon.com/laborontheline.